Good morning, lovelies. Gosh, it's a bright one. Well, it's kind of... Oh, there's a cloud coming. It's intermittent. Out of the shower 10 minutes. I already feel like I need another one. Sticky. So, yeah, a bit of an odd start to the day today. I woke up this morning, and when I was in bed, when I stood in bed, I thought, I can smell smoke. And I thought, surely no one's having a bonfire. But yeah, I could definitely smell smoke. Through the window, right, because I only have the window open a little bit at night, but threw it right open for the day. I thought, yeah, it's definitely smoke. Neighbours having a fire. Anyway, I put the washing on because I'm going out in a second. So I thought I'll get the washing on nice and early so I can get it hung out and then go out and do my appointment this morning. I'll tell you about that in a second. And while the laundry was doing its thing, quickly went online to do my usual social media stuff in the morning. Before I land on my page, Vivi's Cottage Garden page, it lands on the sort of generic page. And I saw this news about a fire on the A31. Gosh, so scary. So it's not that far from me. It's the section of road, it's a road that runs through the New Forest. So anyone, for example, as many people do, anyone coming from London, travelling down to the West Country for their holidays, pretty much everyone will use that road, the A31. I believe it was a van that caught fire and it set fire to the Central Reservation. Central Reservation is quite wide and scrubby, and then it hopped from the Central Reservation to both sides of the carriageway. And I can't think of anything more terrifying than just, having fire either side of me. Oh, utterly terrifying. So I believe everyone was evacuated. People had to get out of their cars, leave their cars, and were evacuated out. As far as I know, no one's hurt, thank goodness. But yeah, so that was the smoke I could smell this morning. And then, in fact, I saw another post from a local-ish person, and obviously I'm in the garden this morning. You know, the view from my garden, you've got the hills in the background. That's Ballard Down. So someone had been stood on Ballard Down and shot some footage, and you can see Sandbanks, where I got the ferry on the bus, and then you sweep to the right and you can see Bournemouth. And it's night time, so Bournemouth, it's, the twinkling, sparkling lights on the front, and then just the entire skyline behind is red, just blazing fire. Because it's only about 12 miles from Bournemouth. So scary, so many fires this year, and yeah, they're terrifying. I messaged Paul this morning and I said, it's a good job you weren't planning on coming down today because the road's closed. I mean, obviously you can divert, but it's a bit of a long way. Anyway, it seems to be dissipating, and I understand. I don't think it's out, but I think they think it's under control. So, yeah, bravo to all our very, very brave firewomen and firemen, because if I see a fire, I'm going to run the heck the other way. I'm not running into it. Yeah, mad, brave people. Anyway, so this morning, I've got a hospital appointment and I'm smiling. So, my bloods are wonky and my doctor's trying to get to the bottom of it. So I was in to see him the other day, face-to-face this time, and he's decided he wants to get an x-ray of my thoracic cavity. So basically my lungs and heart, get an x-ray of that whole area. And so he was listening to my lungs, and it seems fine, but he still wants to do the x-ray. So because, each appointment's about 10 minutes, and we'd only chatted, he'd only been listening like 2 minutes or so. So I took the opportunity, I jumped in and I said, please can you write me some sort of letter to say that I'm losing mobility, that I struggle with my mobility, because I want to apply for a bus pass again. I applied once before. I applied while I was in London. I didn't get a mobility bus pass because, as they put it in their letter back to me, you can walk. yeah, well I can, but I'm in agony and I can only walk a few steps. It's crazy. Anyway, it just makes me mad to think about that, because I knew someone with a bus pass who could walk. They had the bus pass because of mental health stuff. It's like, well, that person can walk, and they've... Anyway, so I mentioned this to the doctor, and he said, when was the last time your knees were x-rayed, looked at? And so the last time they were either x-rayed, and I've had MRI scans, it must have been 10 years or so, because it led then to me having that meniscus surgery. Anyway, so he said, let's get them done at the same time. And I thought, great, knees, chest, all done in one go, because it's a 3-hour round trip to Poole Hospital. So when I had my mammogram, it's a 3-hour round trip. So it doesn't include the time at the hospital. That's just the getting there and getting home. It's a huge chunk of the day. It's almost half of it's a third of a working day taken up. Anyway, so he's making his notes all like this these days, isn't it? I don't know why I did a pen action. And then he gave me a slip of paper to say, call them in about an hour's time. This is radiology department. He said, call them to make an appointment that suits you. So I'll tell them they need to do it. You call. And I looked on this slip, and it's like, and that's why I'm smiling, because it's being done at Swanage Hospital. It's just, well, hang on, where am I on my... It's just up there. It's up the hill. I would say when my knees used to work, I would say it's a 4-minute walk. With wonky broken knees, it's more like a 12-15 minute walk, but it's walkable. Yay! So yeah, we've got this wonderful little cottage hospital here in Swanage. Well, it was started as a cottage hospital in the 1890s, 1895-ish. And then, of course, by 1948, or was it 47, don't quote me, when the NHS was started, it became an NHS hospital. But essentially it's still a little cottage hospital. There are only 15 beds there. They have the X-ray and ultrasound department. I think they have physio, and they have minor injuries. And I know that because about 25 years ago, I went in there with a minor injury. I remember I was on dancing ledge, and I had my Swiss Army knife, and let's just say I hadn't opened it fully, so that when I put pressure on it, it snapped closed. I won't go into any more detail because I'll make myself squeamish. But anyway, I managed to bind up my hand, get up off dancing ledge, get myself down into Swanage to the cottage hospital, and they stitched me up like brand new. I still have scars, but yeah, they were really great. And of course, Grandma spent time in there over the years. After she had hip surgery, so she had her hip surgery, I think she had that at Dorchester, but then came back to Swanage Cottage Hospital to convalesce. That's great. So that meant, you know, I can come down, stay in her house, but every day I can come up to the hospital, sit with her during lunch, chat, take away her, you know, dirty nightie or whatever, come back in the evening with the clean washing, chat for the evening. It's brilliant. Yeah, so she had a few stays there over the years, which meant I was able to come and be with her quite a bit. Ooh, next door. So yeah, anyway, I'm off there now, and I'll take my camera with me and show you our gorgeous little, I don't mean that in a patronising way, but it really is it's like a doll's house hospital. Anyway, come on, I've got an appointment. I need to get a wriggle on. I want to get straight back in this shower. It's such a muggy day. Anyway, stop faffing and fanning and get going. I'm just trying to see if it looks, well, if I can see the sort of a smoke haze over there. So that's the end, that's Ballard Point, where Ballard Down finishes. Go round a bit, it's Old Harry, but in the far distance is Bournemouth. It does look a bit hazy, and so sort of 12 miles back from that is the New Forest and, well, Ringwood, and into the New Forest where the fire was. I don't know, it doesn't look Yeah, it doesn't look too smoky from here. I can't smell too much either, thank goodness. We have a lot of these in Swanage. Now, depending on what part of the country you come from, depends what you call it. Whether you call it an alley, or a ginnel, or a snicket. Yeah, to me it's a snicket. Oh, nice and cool in the shade. My neighbours, who are Swanage born and bred, call the thing out the back of our houses, they call it an alleyway. So perhaps I should adopt alleyway instead of snicket. It's a good little shortcut for me, this. As I'm not a driver, if I go via the road, hey up. Oh, got a footpath closed. Yeah, if I was to go via the road, and then as you come, sorry, I'll just point this up because it's adorable. As you come along, you'll suddenly see little doorways. Clarence Cottage. Got this lovely fuchsia. Oh, it's past its best. I'm not surprised with the heat we've had, and it looks like, oh, that they did have some wisteria. Again, I think a lot of things are past their best after drought and heat. Yeah, I was saying maybe I should learn to call it an alleyway instead of a snicket. Oh, doesn't matter. I don't need to go ahead. But that carries on down the hill, whereas I want to go along the hill. So I'm going to come along here. It's called Sunshine Walk. I'm actually doing this in reverse. You're going to see the hospital in a minute, but this is me coming home from the hospital. And because I'm coming home, I know what's around this corner. Yes, of course, every snicket needs to be observed and overlooked by a giraffe. Excuse the building works. Hold on. That's not the giraffe making the noise. Gorgeous new wall. I put the camera away suddenly because I think looks like maybe the foreman of the works. I think a home is being built. Anyway, I'm heading this way. Oh, I should say, bye-bye giraffe. Thanks for looking after the Snicket Ginnell Alley. And just coming up on the other side is our lovely little hospital. Oh, it's a bit of a climb. I'll give you a close look at the hospital in a second. It's a bit of a climb. This will give you an idea. Oh, maybe a better idea across the road. Oh, cars coming quick, Vivi. Yes, that's Ballard Down. God, it's a bit hazy this morning. Let me see if I close in. You can see much more of the town from up here than, say, from my home, which shows that I've climbed, I don't know, it's probably another, 400 or 500 metres up. Ooh. Right, let me give you a little look at our lovely little hospital. And this is it. I mean, this is it. That's the full extent of it. Yes, it is. Ooh, let me see there. Swanage Cottage Hospital, circa 1894, 5, 6-ish, something around there. Oh, let these people, good folk, go past. Right, let's get inside and do some photos of my bones. I love this. Oh gosh, don't you love the Victorians and their benevolent ways? Donations for the hospital funds. So there was a little lockbox underneath a little slot. But it says, please don't use it anymore. There's a box in the main area. Security, but yeah. Gotta love those Victorians and their benevolence. Fireplace. It's gorgeous. Thank you, Bert family. Look. There we go. For George and Elizabeth Burt. The Bertie bigwigs. Certainly don't need a fire today. Good grief, no. Lovely on the medallions of George and Elizabeth. A lovely bit of lovely stained glass. You probably can't make it out, but it says spring, summer, autumn, winter. Well, we're definitely in the height of summer. Right, home James. Oh, I do love a gate, a secret gate that's a little bit set back and overgrown with ivy and others, leading into a secret garden. And look what's hanging down. Oh my goodness. Tons and tons of blackberries. They look really tiny this year. I mean, I'm not surprised. Really tiny. I think when it comes to foraging this year, oh, some of them are just going black. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, what I was going to say is, oh, loads up there. That's good that they're out of reach, because what I was going to say is, when it comes to foraging this year, I think we all need to leave a little bit more for the wildlife, as in, I think we all need to take less, just because if fruits are like this, really sort of stunted because of the drought and the heat, then there'll be less to go around for the birds. So let us all, I mean, there's loads up there, I can't reach. Yeah, let's all think about that when we're foraging, maybe just take a bit less this year. But don't you want to sneak into a secret garden? I will never not be a romantic. Oh, so lovely to go to my own little hospital. Yay, done and dusted. 3 weeks for results, or at least 3 weeks for all of that to go back to my doctor. Yes, and also the radiologist there was asking about previous x-rays. So I must remember to let my doctor know about x-rays and scans that were done, I think it was probably about 10 years ago in London. Anyway, so I planned what I'd wanted to do, and I must do it with you one day. If I'd carried on from the hospital, keep going up the hill. Swanage is just hills. Anyone who's ever visited, you know, it's hills, hills everywhere. But if I'd carried on going up the hill, we kind of get pretty much to the end of the town, to the edge of the town. And there's a nature reserve up there called the Townsend Nature Reserve. And it's actually all the land that used to be for quarrying. So fortunately, it's unsuitable for building on, because you imagine underneath, so it was all underground quarries. So in the landscape, we'll go there one day, it's all very kind of undulating, and it's to do with where there were pits and where there were, you know, the shafts going down into the mines, the quarries, I mean. So because of that, underneath, it's all sort of shafts and caves and where all the quarrying works were, so it's not suitable for building. Great. That's one of the reasons where if you're in Swanage and you look up, you get to see green at the top of the town rather than any more building. So yeah, I'd wanted to go there because, for example, it's a very special little bit of land, and it joins up with the Durset Country Park right at the top. So it starts with sort of it's rewilded basically. There's a wooded area, and then it becomes, as you go further and further and further and crest the hill, open grassland, which is where some early spider orchids appear, which are incredibly rare. And I think this is one of only, I mean, it's one of the only sites in the UK where they grow. So maybe next April, I'll try and remember that to take you up there, and we'll see if we can find some early spider orchids. But anyway, I just thought, oh, I just don't know if my knees are in a good shape today to do that, so we won't. But carrying on the theme of nature, oh, I wonder if I can show you this. I hope traffic noise isn't going to be an issue. I've got the window open. Yes, I saw this story. We have 2 free papers here. We have the Swanage and Wareham Advertiser every week, and then fortnightly we get the Purbeck Gazette, which is actually, it's full of articles, some really good reads in there, and some puzzles. I like my puzzles. A real mixed bag. I usually get mine from the post office because they always have a pile in there, and that's where I got this one from. I was in the queue, huge queue. We've had one member of staff leave, another is off sick, so it's getting a bit in there. But anyway, they're doing the best they can. I picked it up, I saw it, and I actually went out loud in the queue, "Ooh, ooh," because of the cover story, Baby Puffin takes a peek. So, what I hadn't known, but I do now that I've read the article. So for any of those of you who know the area, this is down at the cliffs, down at Dancing Ledge. So it's about 2 miles up the coast from Swanage. It's the bit of cliffs that, if we're at my grandparents' house in the village, in the old village, walk up the field and down over, you'd get to Dancing Ledge. It's the last English mainland Puffin colony. So we have, I know there's a well, there always was quite a major colony on Lundy Island in the Bristol Channel, presumably perhaps on some of the Scottish islands, but within England this is the only mainland colony left, and it comprises just 3 mating pairs, so 6 puffins, that's it. And this chick, they're called pufflings. Isn't that adorable? Ah! So this chick is the first chick in 30 years. Well, it says there, first chick in 30 years. Incroyable. So I know a team of, reading the article from, it's National Trust Land, and is it them who've done it? Before breeding season started, they've got high rope experts. They've gone down the cliffs and they've managed to get a camera into this fissure. The fissure goes back 2 metres. So they're hoping to learn, because there have been other eggs laid, there have been, with the other 2 mating pairs, they could see that for a number of days the parents were going back, they were going into the nests with fish. I think it's sand eels is their main diet, isn't it? They were going back into the cliffs with the sand eels or fish, and then after a few days they stopped. So presumably those little pufflings didn't, they didn't make it. They certainly didn't make it to fledging. So hopefully having cameras in those fissures will help them to see, why didn't those babies make it? Is there something we can do to help them, for goodness sakes? Because to have only 3 mating pairs left in the whole of England on the mainland, that's awful. Anyway, that's what made me go, ooh, in the post office queue. Yay, yay, happy news. But also, speaking of nature, and I suppose carrying on from what I was saying when I was out a little while ago about foraging, I had an email. I wonder if I can bring you around a bit. Oh, this might be clunky. Will you be able to... I think this might be a bit tricky because we're against the light. No, you're not going to be able to see. So I'll just talk about it instead, and now I have to move the camera back up. I had an email because I subscribed to receive it from something called the Wainwright Prize. I've mentioned it before. Wainwright, W-A-I-N-W-R-I-G-H-T, the Wainwright Prize. And I've received an email because it's the short list for the prize. There's a long list and there's a short list. And I just thought I'd mention it today because I like seeing both the long list and the short list to give me ideas of new authors to look at, new things to read. And the Wainwright Prize originally started, and it's expanded now, as a prize for nature writing. And that's why you will have heard me mentioning it before. So now they have a prize for nature writing, a prize for conservation writing, a prize for illustrative books, and then there's also a children's section. So there's one for fiction for children and non-fiction. But just coming back, oh, scroll upsy daisy. So for instance, I looked at this, and as soon as I looked at the shortlist, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, there's 7 in the shortlist. I immediately saw a book and I thought, oh, because it's called Craftland by James Fox, A Journey Through Britain's Living Past. So I presume that's a sort of a social history, but specifically through the eyes of our craftswomen and men. Fantastic. One of them is called Ancient, Reviving the Woods That Made Britain, The Cuckoo's Lee, The Forgotten History of Birds and Place. So that's all in the nature writing. And then in the conservation writing, I noticed there's a book by an author called Cal Flynn called The Savage Landscape, How We Made the Wilderness. The reason I'm mentioning that one is because I did talk about a Cal Flynn book previously, Islands of Abandonment, which gorgeous shoestring Jane sent me. And the abandonment is where human has gone in and done something really filthy, industrial, and polluted an area, and then sort of up sticks and gone, well, we're going to leave this area and move on somewhere else now. And how nature has started to reclaim those patches. So Islands of Abandonment, a brilliant read. I mean, God, it's depressing as hell at times, just because it's like, what are we doing? What have we done? But then optimism comes into it as well because of how nature is starting to reclaim. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that today for any of those of you who are thinking, you know, I want to find something different to read, or, you know, I quite like reading. I've read a couple of books, nature writing, but I don't really know any of the authors. I don't know what to ask my library to get for me. So yes, if you go to the Wainwright Prize online, you can see the whole shortlist. I think you can see the long list as well. I'm sure I saw the long list earlier in the year. And if you like what you see, yeah, just sign up and then you'll get emails from them prompting and reminding. Yay! What's that piece? Oh, this is funny. This is, I was talking about the Swanage and Wareham Advertiser, which is the other free newspaper. They have a page, and the whole page is on this day in history. And I just got this one out because I thought, okay, that's where it came from. I love the origin of phrases. And yeah, this one had me chuckling. And I don't know if it will translate to other parts of the world. I don't know if this is a particularly British phrase that we use. You may use it where you are. But in any case, let me give you a phrase origin that goes back. And it's incredible to think that we're still using this now. It goes back to 1504. So 520 plus years ago, this phrase originated. So on this day, Matthew Parker, the Archbishop of Canterbury, was born. Matthew Parker. He had a very long nose and he was extremely inquisitive, hence the expression nosy Parker. Isn't that fantastic? Long nose. So Matthew Parker, the Archbishop of Canterbury, gives us nosy Parker. I'm just amazed that that has stuck for 500 plus years. Isn't that fab? Right, now just to wrap up, because I need to get on with some other things. It will have been and gone by the time you see this video, but I've been out and got myself a pair of... Yay! Can you see what they are? They are eclipse glasses. Yes, I am hoping to go and view the eclipse, because down here in the southwest we should have one of the best views of it for the whole of the British Isles. We don't, it's not going to be a total, but I think I was reading that down here it's going to be something like 94.1%, so it's going to be a good eclipse. And they were saying that the next one of any like anywhere near this will be 2050. So I thought, yeah, come on, let's try and do it. The last one I remember looking at was in, I think it was 1999, 2000. It wasn't that great, so I'm hoping this one is a bit better. But also, so that's Wednesday the 12th, and like I said, it'll have been and gone by now, but I hope you have managed to see it too. Later that night, so between about midnight and 5 AM, there's going to be a massive meteor shower with anywhere between 30 and 100 meteors per hour. Incroyable. I'm just going to quickly bring up another website which I've just used. Let me bring it up so I can share it with you. And so yeah, that's sort of between midnight and 5 AM. So I'm usually awake, so I might as well go out and see if I can see some of the meteor showers. And I'd looked online, and it said for the best views of them, look towards the constellation of Perseus. And I suddenly thought, I've got no idea where the constellation of Perseus is. So I always like to teach myself things, so I went online and found a really fab YouTube channel called Learn the Sky. And I haven't looked at anything else they've made, so the rest of the channel might be rubbish, I don't know. But I went on Learn the Sky and I watched How to Find Perseus, the Hero Constellation. Brilliant. So I know the Pleiades. Brilliant. So that's one of the kind of, if you can find the Pleiades, then you can start anchoring, and if you know where Cassiopeia is, then you can start to navigate within that night sky to find Perseus. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to a night under the stars. I did think originally I'd go up onto the downs and just lie on my back to look, and then I thought that's a really dumb idea, Vivi, because it will be pitch black and you'll fall off the cliff. So I'm not sure. I might go to. I'll have a think. I might go to Albert Gardens, because at least I can go on a footpath, an actual level footpath, even though it gets a bit steep at the back. Yeah, but I think I might do that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to both of those sky events. I will let you know how it goes. Just enjoying the natural world as much as possible and ignoring the man-made chaos. There we go. That's the lesson for the day, isn't it? Ignore the man-made chaos and revel in the magnificence that is the natural world. All right, lovelies, I'll see you all again really soon. Please stay well, enjoy the eclipse safely. Please enjoy it safely. Yeah, enjoy being out and about and seeing whatever you see. Taking note, being aware, just being in your moment to stop and look and go, ooh, isn't that lovely? Or, isn't that curious? How odd. I think I might have to do some looking up when I get home. That's how every walk is for me. Anyway, I'm waffling. I'll see you all again really soon. Until then, cheerio, lovelies.